At least 4 positive cases of measles have been identified in children in Uganda's capital, Kampala, and the Wakiso district. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said his visit to Somalia was one of solidarity with the people of the Horn of Africa nation, which is battling a series of challenges, including drought and insecurity. Tunisian police used tear gas on Tuesday to disperse about 100 African asylum seekers and migrants. Good afternoon. You're tuned into Golfe TV Africa. Welcome to the 1 p.m. news edition. I am Itunu Shoneye. Here's the news in details. Now, kickstarting from the national scene, the Jajo market in the commune of Abomey-Calavi, which has been refurbished at a cost of several million francs CFA, is inoperative despite the presence of sellers. It serves as a resting place for animals and vendors. Unfortunately, the inhabitants of this neighborhood prefers to buy supplies from shops in the neighborhood instead of buying from the sellers at the markets. The lack of sales remains the main difficulty of the market sellers, a situation that is a cause of concern to them. The local and state authorities are called upon to ensure that laws be put in place. The road leading to the Jajo market is in a state of degradation. Still on the local scene, on Sunday night of April 2023 was the coronation of the priestess of the throne, Peto Deka Lafia, Hunaya Husu Evasuo Tokanji. The theme for this year's ceremony is Petra Turtro. Here's more details in the following commentary. On Sunday, April 9, 2023, was the coronation of the priestess of the throne, Peto Deka Lafia, Hunaya Husu Evasuo Tokanji. The theme for this year's ceremony is Petra Turtro. This year's ritual coincides with the 20th anniversary of her accession to the throne as priestess of the throne, Peto Deka Lafia, replacing her late father. The priestess of the throne divinity, Hunaya Husu Evasuo Tokanji, and her people celebrated the 2023 edition of Petra Turtro. The faithful of the throne, Peto Deka Lafia divinity, who came from various destinations, were adorned in colorful attires. It was a moment of great rejoicing and festivity, a celebration that coincides with the 20th anniversary of the accession of Hunaya Husu Evasuo Tokanji to the throne of the priestess of the throne, Peto Deka Lafia divinity. The priestess said she was very moved by the atmosphere and the support of her peers at the occasion. The ceremony was also marked by prayer and an invocation session. A mass of thanksgiving is said to the deity to thank him for his blessings throughout the year. The gospel being taught by the priestess to the faithful is one of the highlights of the celebration. Hunaya Husu Evasuo Tokanji and her supporters thanked the president, Patrice Talon, for his engagement and also for his fight for the enhancement of the religion. The ceremony ended with a rich cultural display of songs and dancing. The insurance company Sunu Insurance is getting closer to its customers in the 8th district of Cotonou. And on Thursday, March 30, 2023, the company inaugurated a new branch located in the Bedromede district. Political and administrative authorities, partners, and potential customers were all invited to the inaugural ceremony of the new office. Hazel has more details in the following reports.
The new office of Sunu Assurance is located at the edge of the paved road, a few steps from the Bedromede crossroad on the section leading to the Santa Rita traffic lights. A very remarkable one-story building painted in the company's colors. Sunu Assurance has thus decided to bring its clients closer to the 8th district and its surroundings on the occasion of the inaugural ceremony held on Thursday, the 30th of March, 2023. The general manager of Sunu Assurance explained the main reason for the creation of the office by reminding his guests of the importance for everyone, no matter their rank, to be insured based on one of Winston Churchill's quotations.
Je cite, si cela m'était possible, j'écrirais le mot assurance dans chaque foyer et sur le front de chaque homme. Tant je suis convaincu que l'assurance.
If it was possible, I would write the word insurance in every household and on the forehead of every man. I am convinced that at an affordable price, insurance can liberate families from irreparable disaster. End of quote. Sunu Assurance is in Benin, and we are here to support them better in securing their activities, their well-being, their enterprises, and their heritage. The development of our activities via traditional challenges rather than digitally is the reason behind the multi-channel we have adopted in an environment that necessitates continuous investments in training and financial education of the Beninese populace. This place would be a crossroad for commercial activities of Sunu Assurance in Benin and can guarantee that everything was well thought of to offer you not just the space, but also professionals that are well qualified. They would anticipate and respond to the needs of clients. We encourage you to come to us. We are capable of supporting you. The staff of this new branch of Sunu Assurance Benin, located in Bedromide, represented on the occasion by the first agency head, she stated that the staff is ready to welcome potential customers with their offers and attractive insurance products for the chief of the 8th district of Cotonou locality. He welcomes this new office of Sunu Assurance Benin and sees it as a godsend for the population of the 8th district and its surroundings. He thanks the company for choosing his district.
Situé en plein cœur de la ville, nous dévoilons non seulement un nouveau cadre pour offrir des produits et services résolument innovants.
Situated at the heart of the city, we are not just offering innovative products and services, but at the same time, we are installing the heart of the commercial activity of the sales strength. In this space, the structure is modern and the environment is friendly. You can from now on make inquiries or subscribe to our insurance packages like multi-risk housing, professional insurance, civil liability insurance, individual insurance, accident insurance, travel insurance, goods and transport insurance, health insurance, car insurance, just to mention a few of our products.
Il s'agit d'une noble mission car nous travaillons tous pour le bien-être de nos populations.
We are all working together for the well-being of our population, whom we need to offer this opportunity. It is the place for me to express all my gratitude to the Director General who chose our region to install this office. The presence of Sunu Insurance in the 8th district henceforth adds value to the daily lives of the populace. The population of the districts of Bedromide, Agbojedo, Santa Rita, Agoni Tokon, Gbejagbe, Hunesu, and surroundings no longer need to travel a long distance to benefit from the services of the Sunu Assurance Company, whose offers and products defy all competition.
In Nigeria, the Lagos State House of Assembly has ordered the immediate withdrawal of letters of appointment of some government appointees whose nominations were not brought to the House for screening and confirmation. Here's more details in the following report.
The day's business kicked off with the lawmakers calling for immediate halting of salaries and other benefits enjoyed by certain government appointees. Their nominations were not sent to the House for the legislature's approval.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we have no message from the governor, sir.
Any other announcements?
There is none, sir.
Petition?
None, sir.
This is coming exactly 1 week after the lawmakers flagged a similar act of infraction by certain agencies of the state, citing Section 196, subsection 2, and other sections of Nigeria's constitution, which gave the House powers of approval of nominations for any governor appointees. The lawmakers say the growing trend of outright disregard for the law by the executive arm must go
on appointees who were given appointments without appearing before this noble House of Assembly, and the clearance was not issued Section 196, subsection 2 of the Federal Republic of Nigeria Constitution as authored provides that the number of such advisors and their remuneration and allowances shall be as prescribed by law.
Reacting to the issue which was raised under matters of urgent public importance by the Deputy Majority Leader, Nohim Adams, the Speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, say appointments of nominees without recourse to the House amounts to infractions.
The executive have the right to appoint people, while we as the legislature have the right to either confirm, screen, or reject whatever appointment.
There's a difference between nomination and appointment. Appointment will only come after the nominees must have appeared before this House and this House had given its clearance. And that's the only time I think a letter of appointment is supposed to be issued.
The laws of this House has in them statutory provisions that says some of the governors' nominees must appear, which they have not done. And it's becoming common and regular. I share your sentiment that there's a need for us to act on this so that we can put stop to it.
The lawmakers want their letters of appointment withdrawn immediately. They also want the state head of service, Mr. Akim Muri Okunola, the Accountant General of the state, Abiodun Muritala, and the State Commissioner for Establishment, Mrs. Ajubola Bonle, to be summoned for further clarifications on the issues raised.
Still on the Nigerian scene, an umbrella body of Nigerian medical doctors and dentists practicing outside the country, the Diaspora Medical Associations, has petitioned the National Assembly over the bill seeking to compel medical and dental graduates to render 5-year compulsory services within Nigeria before being granted full license to practice. The letter, titled A Position Statement from Diaspora Medical Associations Bill, seeking to restrict newly qualified medical doctors and dentists from leaving Nigeria, was dated April 11, 2023. The Medical and Dental Practitioners Act Amendments Bill, which passed second reading at the House of Representatives last week, was counterproductive and would not achieve its intended goal of addressing brain drain in the country. The doctors called on the Speaker to embrace the purposeful systemic solution and ensure that a quick fix attempt does not worsen the situation. Away from that, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said his visit to Somalia was one of solidarity with the people of the Horn of Africa nation, which is battling a series of challenges, including drought and insecurity. Guterres wants donors countries to scale up their funding to help address these challenges, noting that humanitarian agencies have received just 15% of the $2.6 billion needed.
The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has arrived in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, at the start of a brief visit. His second visit comes amid a deteriorating humanitarian situation in the restive and climate-stricken Horn of Africa nation. Shabelle Radio on Saturday reported that Guterres will be arriving in the country on Wednesday. Guterres has held talks with President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud and will meet other top government officials and tour camps for internally displaced people in the city.
Also here to ring the alarm on the need of massive international support. Massive international support because of the humanitarian difficulties the country is facing, massive humanitarian support in relation to the build-up of a security capacity in Somalia, and massive humanitarian support in stabilization and development of the country. Somalia is experiencing its worst series of 5 years of drought in recorded history, and I hope that the rain that is coming will persist and will help address the very challenging situation that was created in the country.
This will look to the UN to increase critical investment in these areas, as these people, as our citizens, has been denied the accessibility of civil services for a long time. Another important point that we are partnering with the United Nations is the arms embargo. So the 31st year Somalia is experiencing the arms embargo, which we believe it is the right time. We are very much grateful for the your good offices on the support of this issue, as well as the other United Nations Security Council members who showed that Somalia has reached to a level where it has been eased. The embargo has been eased in the past. That helped a lot, and we are expecting the complete lift in the near future as well.
This Ramadan in Algeria is described as one of the most economically costly in the country's history due to the sharp increase in the prices of some basic foodstuff. Now, the increase in food prices, which started months ago with the reflections of the COVID-19 epidemic affecting the whole world and the Russia-Ukraine war, multiplied before Ramadan despite the government's economic policies and support programs in Algeria. Due to the shortage of vegetable oils, semolina, and various food products in the country, queues formed in front of shops in many cities. According to the report published at the beginning of the month by the Statistics Authority of the Algerian Ministry of Finance, prices of agricultural products increased by 3.2% and food products by 2% in February. In the report, it was pointed out that meat and chicken prices increased by 19% and vegetable and fruit prices increased by 8.2% compared to the previous month. The government had recently announced that it would import fresh meat from Sudan and live cattle from Brazil in order to break the wave of high prices. However, according to experts, the government's move also failed to achieve its goal. Now, moving on. At least 4 positive cases of measles have been identified in children in Uganda's capital, Kampala, and Wakiso district. The country's director of public health, Dr. Daniel Kabayinze, says the country is close to declaring an outbreak of the disease as the current cases have surpassed the threshold of 3 cases per location.
Health officials say tests done at the National Virus Research Institute returned 4 positive cases. These were from school-going children within the capital Kampala and Wakiso districts, areas that had suspended their measles vaccination last year due to the prevalence of Ebola in the country.
Based on the number of cases we've gotten, because they have now spanned over 2 months, we think we are on the fringes of declaring an outbreak because our threshold is 3 cases per location.
Measles is an acute respiratory illness that spreads easily and can cause serious problems, especially among infants. The ministry says it is taking measures to avert a crisis. In 2018, the Ministry of Health announced an outbreak of measles in 26 districts across the country. Officials say a reoccurrence is less desired for a country coming out of an Ebola epidemic.
In Tunisia, Tunisian police used tear gas on Tuesday to disperse about 100 African asylum seekers and migrants who had been camping outside the headquarters of the UN Refugee Agency in the capital. Here's more details in the following reports.
Asylum seekers retrieving their belongings after Tunisian police dismantled a makeshift camp they'd set up outside the United Nations Refugee Agency's headquarters in Tunis. They say they'd taken refuge there after President Kais Saied in February slammed illegal immigration. But there had been altercations with local residents. This is a big problem because when they gather like this, they feel stronger, they feel safe and don't fear the police. They don't care about people, they don't care about anything. If you pass by here, they can hit you and tell you to leave. The protesting refugees had been on edge since the UN said last week it had stopped all registration and pre-registration activities worldwide until the 17th of April due to the migration of its registration and identity system. I've got my status and now I'm waiting. I did the resettlement interview, but there are others who've been here for 2 or 3 years and they've not been called. This is due to the application procedures. They can't take all the applications, so it's up to us to now understand that they can't all be processed at the same time. An AFP reporter at the scene said that after the migrants were dispersed, they saw that surveillance cameras and windows at the UN building had been smashed. The Tunisian Interior Ministry says that police intervened at the request of the UNHCR and that 80 migrants had been arrested.
On the international scene, President Biden, who has Irish ancestry, keeping peace on the island as a personal and political priority. Here's more details in the following reports.
President Joe Biden often mentions his Irish roots. But this trip is no vacation, he says. As he left for Belfast in Northern Ireland, Biden stressed the importance of a 1998 agreement that brought peace to the island after decades of sectarian strife between mostly Catholic nationalists who wished to unite with neighboring Ireland and mostly Protestant unionists who wished to remain within the UK.
What's your top priority on this trip, sir? Make sure the Irish Accords and the Windsor Agreement stay in place to keep the peace. That's the main thing.
That is a big lift. That peace is being tested by the UK's 2016 vote to leave the European Union, taking Northern Ireland with it and leaving the rest of the island in the EU. Analysts say there is bipartisan will in the US to see the island succeed. They point to two ways the world's wealthiest nation can encourage stability: with attention and with money.
There can be investments in the region, there can be special envoys that remain invested, and then I think there also needs to be effort put into trust building. After the Good Friday Agreement, we all kind of assumed the peace was done. Really, that was the moment to kick up the efforts in high gear.
The situation has degenerated since the Brexit vote, and the Windsor framework that Biden described has not won support from Northern Ireland's pro-UK political party. They have boycotted the government for more than a year, threatening the delicate power-sharing agreement formed after the 1998 peace accord. Ireland's leader explained what's at stake.
We want to see the institutions of the Good Friday Agreement restored so they can provide hope for a new generation. And we'd like to see the people of Northern Ireland benefit from the rich economic opportunities available to them.
But peace is a process, Rees says. And so far, there has been progress.
The reason I'm still positive is we see the emergence and the increasing success of non-sectarian parties on the political sphere. Yes, we could be in a better place, but we really have made huge strides since 1998.
And for Biden, this visit holds personal history. Like most American families, the Bidens came from another continent. This village was the start of their very American story.
The Irish left here during oppression and famine, went to Scranton and worked in the coal mines and on the railways, really difficult jobs, but with pride and enthusiasm for a better life. And they were able to provide that for their people. And that has come full circle now with a son of Ballina, an ancestor of Ballina, becoming US president and sitting in the Oval Office.
On Friday, that son of Ballina will speak before residents of this small town. But his words will be heard around the world.
Still tuned into Golfe TV Africa, and this is the Africa Newspaper Review, where I give you a review of all of the trending stories on the front pages of various African newspapers. Now, starting off from the nation Nigeria, on the headline here, it says, Obi lacks right to contest my victory, Tinubu tells Tribuna. Now, the president-elect of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has asked the court to dismiss the petition of the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, that you can find on the front page of the nation Nigeria. Away from the story, and this story here says how Obi was detained in London by aid. He was impersonated. You can find that on page 4. The president-elect of the Labour Party was traveling to the UK for Easter, and he was being detained by the British immigration officers because he was being impersonated in London. That you can find on page 4 of the nation newspaper Nigeria. And here it says G5 governors mini convention plans deepens PDP crisis. You can also find that on page 5 on the nation newspaper Nigeria. Another story here says presidential poll most credible Nigeria's history. Observers reports rates beavers high, says Keyamo. Now, that you can find on page 3 on The Nation Nigeria. We'll be moving away from this story on the front page of The Nation Nigeria and moving on to the Star Kenya. The front page away from The Nation Nigeria and moving on to the Star Kenya. On the headline here on the front page of the Star Kenya, it says cost of living. Raila opts for new strategy. That you can find on the front page of the Star Kenya. And another story here says Douglas Kanja appointed new DRG Kenya Police. You can find that on page 3 on the front page of the Star Kenya. Health cash crisis deepens as bad debt hits $11.4 billion. That you can also find on the front page of the Star Kenya. That is the story we'll just be taking on the front page of the Star Kenya. And away from the Star Kenya, and moving on to the other newspaper, the front page of the Sun Namibia. Here's a story. There's no, a lot of story on the Namibian newspaper today. But here, a story here says, Aesop Paints bill hopes on poor health. And another story here says, exile last resort for same-sex couple. And government in catch-22 over no work, no pay strike rule. That you can find on the front page of the Sun Namibia. You can just go online and click on the Sun Namibia to get more details on the pages of the newspaper. Away from the Sun Namibia and moving on to the front page Liberia. Here, there's an interesting story here which says CPP calls for demarcation thwarted. That you can find on the front page of Liberia, the front page Liberia newspaper. The twist in ways accountability. Now, the president of Liberia, President Ware, when he went for the U.S. summit this year, 2023, he assured the world leaders that there will be peace in Liberia. He assured them of democracy in Liberia and that the forthcoming election on October 10, 2023 in Liberia will be peaceful. But all that he has told them, it isn't showing for because he has refused to abide by the code of conduct in Liberia. That you can find on the front page, Liberia. Now, away from that, that is all we'll be taking on the front page Liberia, pardon me. And be moving away from the front page Liberia and going on to the daily news, Zimbabwe. It says here, government homecoming in on exam cheats. Government homecoming in on exam cheat. That is one of the headlines on the front page of the daily news, Zimbabwe. So the cabinet of Zimbabwe has approved draft law to help improve the conduct of school examination. That you can find on the front page of the daily news, Zimbabwe. Another story here on the sport news. It says postpone super lining orphanage. That you can find on page 16. That's all of the story. To get more details on the stories, you can just click on the Daily News Zimbabwe to get more of the interesting stories. So this is where we will conclude today's newspaper review live from Golfe TV Africa. I am Itunu Shuneye. Enjoy the rest of your day.